He was, without a doubt, the biggest star on the planet. A true musical genius who didn't just make songs, he broke down racial barriers and completely redefined pop culture. But at the same time, he faced this relentless media campaign that seemed designed just to tear him down. So today, we're going to unpack the incredibly complex and powerful legacy of Michael Jackson.
Okay, let's just start right here. To even begin to understand Michael's story, you have to get a sense of just how monumental his impact was. I mean, this quote from Beyoncé, it says everything, doesn't it? His influence was so deep, it literally shaped the artists who are defining music for us today.
So, our story really begins with his rise to the top. It's this incredible journey from being a child prodigy in Gary, Indiana, all the way to becoming the undisputed king of pop.
I mean, from his very first days as this unbelievably charismatic lead singer of the Jackson 5, you just knew his talent was on another level, and his rise was just meteoric. He goes from signing with Motown in '69 to releasing Thriller, one of the best-selling albums of all time, just a little over a decade later. That period right there set the stage for a solo career that would hit a level of global success nobody had ever seen before.
You know, he wasn't just another pop star. He earned the title King of Pop. And let's be clear, this wasn't some empty marketing slogan. It was a real reflection of his status as a true global phenomenon, genuinely one of the most significant cultural figures of the entire century.
So here's where things get really interesting. He didn't just dominate the world of music, he fundamentally changed how we actually see it.
This slide just illustrates his revolutionary power perfectly. It's hard to imagine now, but before Michael Jackson, music television was a really segregated world. MTV, which was the cultural gatekeeper back then, almost never played black artists. But the success of Billie Jean and Thriller was so massive, so completely undeniable, that it just forced the doors wide open and shattered those racial barriers for good.
He saw music videos as something way more than just simple promotional tools. For him, they were blockbuster events. He actually called them short films, and they had full-on narratives, incredible special effects, and, of course, groundbreaking choreography that could turn a 5-minute song into a genuine cultural moment. The sheer scale of it all was just unprecedented. I mean, try to wrap your head around this number. An estimated 500 million people across 27 different countries all tuned in to watch the premiere of his Black or White video back in 1991. That is a global audience the size of the Super Bowl, but for a music video. Just amazing.
So what do you do with that kind of power, with that kind of enormous global platform? Well, Jackson started to wield that influence, embedding these really powerful social and political messages directly into his art.
His music really became a vehicle for his activism. He was tackling gang violence and Beat It, making a plea for racial tolerance in Black or White, championing environmentalism in Earth Song, and protesting systemic injustice with They Don't Care About Us.
And what's truly remarkable is how his work wasn't just timely, it was absolutely timeless. They Don't Care About Us, which was originally a response to the Rodney King beating in the early 90s, found this whole new life and relevance decades later as an anthem for the Black Lives Matter movement.
And his activism wasn't just in his lyrics, not by a long shot. He really put his money where his mouth was. He founded the Heal the World Foundation and donated the entire profits from his Dangerous World tour to the cause. Over his lifetime, he gave over $500 million to charity.
But, and this is a big but, this rise to becoming a global voice for change was met with an equally powerful and often vicious backlash from the media. The media's whole campaign to paint him as this eccentric oddity really got boiled down to this one awful tabloid nickname, Wacko Jacko. And it was a label he found deeply painful and publicly called out as being just cruel.
Yeah. And as this Reddit user points out, this constant flood of negative press had a very clear effect. It dehumanized him, it shifted the public's perception of him from being a musical genius to being some kind of tabloid spectacle.
The tabloids were just filled with these sensational stories, that he was sleeping in an oxygen chamber or that he was ashamed of his blackness. These narratives completely overshadowed the complex realities of his life, like his very real battle with the skin disorder vitiligo, which causes a loss of skin pigment.
So why? Why did all this happen? Well, many observers and the sources we looked at believe this relentless media attack was fueled by a combination of things, racism for one, and the simple fact that sensational stories sold a lot of papers. A powerful, wealthy black man was a threat to the status quo, and he was an easy target for profit.
But here's the thing. In the end, Jackson's ultimate legacy wasn't defined by the tabloids.
It was defined by the art and the influence that has long outlived all of them.
When you step back from the noise and just look at the numbers, his philanthropic work, his 13 Grammy Awards, and his massive artistic impact, well, they tell a powerful and lasting story that just transcends all those tabloid headlines.
And you can literally see his DNA in artists across every single genre. I mean, from The Weeknd and Kanye West to Coldplay and Chance the Rapper, they all credit him as a primary inspiration for their music, for their performances, and even for their activism.
So, ultimately, his legacy isn't just a collection of amazing hit songs. It's a complete blueprint for what it means to be a modern superstar. This incredible fusion of art, activism, and performance that created an entirely new kind of global icon.
His story is truly one of unprecedented talent being met with unprecedented scrutiny. He was a global icon, a cultural revolutionary, and a media target, all at the same time. And that leaves us with one final question to really think about. What truly is the ultimate legacy of the King of Pop?